Well, I'm clicking this to start streaming, but
Oops. Well, I preempted you. I can't keep my lovely audience waiting. These beautiful people.
That's not what you told me when we were offline.
So I'm live. Be quiet.
All right, time to see how my sister's internet, how her Wi-Fi holds up to the stream.
It's gonna be an experience, just like it's my first experience since that dreadful watch party.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
What was worse about it is that I destroyed my sleep for that because I had to wake up early because Imogen had music class and I had to take my son to school, so I had to wake up at 8:30. The thing started at 4 o'clock my time. I didn't get back to sleep till like 5:30, so I took a little nap before the thing started, but it was just I destroyed myself for nonsense. Anyway, hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Are you live now too, Corey?
I'm live. I think my internet is not enjoying this. I'll just turn off the webcams if I have to at some point.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna just do that from mine right now. Sorry, had to do it.
Okay, well, let me just get rid of you then. Actually, I'll just leave your picture on. It's fine. But yeah, hello everybody. So for those who don't know, this is a. Can you Can you wait till I'm done talking before you start mumbling?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Just keep going. Yeah. Just keep going with the intro. Yeah, do the intro, please, Justin.
Okay, I definitely really don't like that. But for those who don't know, we are recording an episode of Tapcaf Transmissions. It's our Star Wars podcast that we run. Links in the description. So that means we usually don't take too many questions during the actual recording itself. Where we're just talking about one episode, if I do see something pop up time and time again in the chat, I will try to address it. This is going to be a shorter stream because Corey, I don't know if you've told people where you are, but Corey's not in his usual spot.
I'm at my sister's place. I've been captured by EA.
Okay. His sister's EA now. Is she making you pay microtransactions for every meal you get?
I did pay for our dinner, so yes, I think all food is done via microtransactions.
That's true.
So
yeah, crushing economic realities of capitalism. But okay, do you want to do it? So yeah. Again, if you want to find the podcast, most episodes you can go down to the link in the description. I'll probably stay around for a few minutes after Corey leaves in case I get any super chats or anything. I'll answer them. But Corey, do you want to do the intro and get her started?
And I think maybe next week we'll do a longer episode and take more questions with the finale. But yeah, I'll start us off. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the only Star Wars podcast that's live from my sister's basement. It's Tapcaf Transmissions. I am one of your hosts, Corey, joined as always by Justin, Mr. Eckhart's Ladder. How are you doing tonight?
Doing quite well. It's good that you moved out of your mother's basement into your sister's basement.
That's rude. You know why that's rude.
Yeah, that is true. Corey's mom's dead.
She's not
for
using
new listeners. Yeah, so how are you doing, Corey? Yeah, you're visiting your sister. How was the journey?
Yeah,
you took a train, I'm guessing?
I took a train,
well, I know you
took
did.
another train, and then got a nice ride from Burlington to St. Catharines, but I'm down for my not dead father's 60th birthday. So big, exciting times here. But our topic for the night is The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 7, The Spies. I don't care how you're doing.
Fair enough.
I'm tired of pretending I do.
Okay, continue.
No, that's also not true. I said, how are you doing tonight, Justin?
Oh, did you? Shit.
I'm pretty sure. That's usually how I open it. Tough look
for me. Yeah, okay. You're right.
Now you're trying to gaslight me into that. Okay, we're talking about the episode, then I'm done with you.
Okay.
All right, well, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was
Any
good.
other Star Wars news to talk about? I think we're past the Star Wars news for a while.
Is there any other Star Wars news?
With Celebration just last week, I feel like it's going to be...
Yeah, let me just check.
No big announcements.
Let me check my highly curated news sources. Yeah, no.
r/Star Wars leaks.
It is. I actually did just pop open r/Star Wars leaks, and
so predictable.
Yeah, not much, and that's kind of funny because during Star Wars Celebration, especially where, the announcements are happening at like 9 Eastern time, 8 Eastern time.
Yeah.
Like I would check them, and it would be like a million new things. It'd be like, oh, we got a we got 3 new movies, we got a new video game, like new Star Wars back scratcher, like all there. But yeah, not so much recently. It's been kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, no video games at all. That's well, there is Fallen or Jedi Survivor coming in like a week and a half, or I think it's 2 weeks and 1 day exactly.
It's the 28th,
so,
right?
Yeah.
So 15 days, yeah. If my math works out. So yeah,
it's never been your strong suit.
No. So yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really curious how long that game is going to be, because like the last one was pretty long. This one seems like, based on what we played, that it's going to be a decent amount larger. Although I'm sure it'll be the kind of thing where if you just want to do the main quest, you can probably skip a lot of that extra stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, like it's not true open world, but it's sort of open world. It seems like the big question is how many planets are there going to be? Because I don't know if we're allowed to say when we played it was Kobo, and it was like a 3-hour session.
Okay, yeah, because there was something we weren't.
Yeah,
okay. People know that we don't know any planets that don't exist. We just know a little about the order. So yeah, Kobo was like the main planet we existed. We spent like, it was 4 hours of play, right? 2:30 to 6:30, and I think by the time I was done, I was about 15% done the planet. Like,
yeah.
So, and that is, I think Kobo's going to be a little more detailed than some of the other ones, but not so much like I don't think it's going to be the only planet with exploration. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Remember.
Yeah, so the big question with that is just going to be how many planets and how are they all content-wise compared to Kobo. But it does seem like it's a bigger game overall. Definitely file size-wise, we know it's gigantic, but
it's like over 150 gigs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 156.
It's a whole Steam Deck.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find some stuff to delete when I get home.
This is actually a good question that I do want to take from chat before we move on to Mando. Is Survivor, like, buy a new generation console kind of good? And I've always said, like, you can't base the quality of a game off a 3-hour showcase that they let us play, because that can be that could be the best 4 hours of the game. If that's the best 4 hours of the game, no, don't buy, a new console for that, in my opinion. If that's a representative 4 hours of the game, if that's, there's going to be really exciting parts that are high on high, like, yeah, maybe it is, but wait until the game comes out. Don't look at reviews. Ever since IGN gave Halo 4 a 10 out of 10, I don't trust any reviewers. Watch streamers. I'll be streaming the game. Corey will be streaming the game. Find someone who generally agrees and watch them with your perspective on games and watch them play for a bit.
I mean, I think the best thing we can say at this point is if you enjoyed Fallen Order, like if Fallen Order is the kind of game that you'd buy a new console for, I think it's probably safe to say it's at least Fallen Order level. So if you would buy a console for Fallen Order, you're probably safe doing it for Survivor.
The only thing that I'm concerned about in that respect is technical problems. The version we played was months old. I was getting stuttering, and that is something I didn't mention in the video, but I wish I had. I was getting a little bit of frame stuttering. We were playing on monstrous PCs, I'm sure. So like my stuttering was going down from like 60 FPS to like 30. Enough that I could kind of feel it. Didn't really distract from the experience. But the game's been pushed back a little bit. So, that's to be honest, that's really only my concern. That's my only concern, because I know that I'll probably enjoy it, is that aspect.
And I think part of that is also because the shaders weren't fully compiled at that point. It was just all open. So
yes, because you would notice when it was like a Vista would always slow you down a little bit. Yeah.
So it's at least not something where they're going to be scratching their heads as to why it was lagging. So there's it's at least some of that performance, or some of those performance issues are things that are known, explainable, and easily fixed. But it's impossible for us to say that that's entirely that. So yeah, do be aware that you might have some system requirement bulk to deal with.
Yeah, undoubtedly. All right, so let's talk, unless there's anything else, let's talk about Mando episode Do you want to give your basic thoughts? Then we'll kind of do. There was a lot scene by scene to break down in this episode. Like usually when I do my video reviews, I like to focus on one big aspect, break that down in depth, and then do, just a general review. But this time I felt like I needed to do scene by scene just because there were so many discrete parts that deserved to talk.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it might be my favorite episode this season, just for how much there was going on. It was great for the Mando action, which is nice. And I think the scenes with Mecha Grogu, we got a lot of the like Din and Grogu connection that's kind of been missing from this season, even though they just kind of overwritten everything from the end of season 2 to get that connection back. But I
was worried it wasn't going to be funny. I was worried that I was worried that was going to be awful. Like, because that was one of the things we talked about this during the live stream. That leaked very early that there was going to be a Mecha Grogu thing. It sounded so bad, but it was hilarious. I was like, if my son was stronger than me, or were stronger than me, like this is what he would do. He would take shit that because I was at not EB Games. I was at GameStop today, and like the only reason that he didn't take every Pokemon card pack in Mario that he wanted was because I have more reach than him, and I can prevent him from doing so. And he listens pretty well too. But if he were stronger than me, there's no it would have been a bloodbath.
Yeah, that was a total grandpa grief move to give your grandson the super mecha suit so you can just run around and do whatever you want.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I do think my impression after watching the first time at least was that there was still a fair bit of this happened, then this happened, then this happened, without getting too many like reactions to how the Mandalorians actually felt about anything. And I think some of that is just setup. And I think there was enough from Bo-Katan, especially on rewatching it, that I kind of softened on that a bit, where Bo-Katan is still clearly concerned about how well they're going to be able to hold things together when Paz Vizsla was ready to fight Axe Woves over having a disagreement about chess rules.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So I think what my kind of worry with it has been is that they're going to liberate Mandalore, and then not only will that like bring them together and convince them they have to work out their issues, but that will be considered them having worked out all their issues, and now they're all just fine forever. And Bo-Katan did lie to them all, saying that no one can beat Mandalorians. Like, the only reason they lose is because they beat themselves.
Have beat Mandalorians.
Yeah, they lose every war to everyone else, and it's not because of infighting.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so I totally agree with what you're saying about, this happened, then this happened, and it's like, all right, like it's a writing issue. I think, like the general story beats I found really entertaining. I liked most of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and the best example of this, and my stream died right before we got to this part. I heard you getting to it. I was like listening on my phone, and I heard you say giant monster. I was like, oh my god, not a fucking another one. And yeah, there was another giant monster, and it's just like, it just feels like something that happens, Like, that monster wasn't needed for the story. They were going into the mines already. If they were worried about getting rid of that little Mandalorian skiff, a TIE bomber could have blown it up. Like, it just felt like, okay, they need to spend 5 minutes of the episode. And it's sort of an issue that I had a bit, but not as much with the action, where like it wasn't quite as good as, like, when I think of really good Mandalorian action scenes, I always go back to the Heiress in season 2 on the Gazanti, where that felt really well choreographed and stuff. This ended up being a lot of running through hallways, shooting these Beskar clad super commandos, whatever they are. Sometimes they die, sometimes they don't. But yeah, so those were my kind of smaller issues, but there was enough good there that I really enjoyed the episode too. I'm not sure. I like the Pirate King episode quite a bit. That might be my favorite in hindsight, but yeah, it was really good. So that's kind of my general thoughts, but I'd like to go through some things scene by scene too.
Yeah, and I guess scene by scene, we gotta get to the big thing from the start that both of us were really excited by. Recognize that mustache anywhere. We have our first live action appearance of Mr. Gilly P, as his friends call him, simping for Thrawn as any Gilly P should.
Yeah, my buddy is like, he he was one of my only friends who read Star Wars books back in the day. He's a bit back on Mandalorian. And I was like, Pelion was just in the Mandalorian. And they're fighting Dark Troopers, and it's unreal. But yeah, that was... And I told him with Ewing, too. Yeah, Pelion looked great. I'm so glad that they included him. I am a bit confused about, like, how everything is going to work together. Like, okay... We know that Hux is out with the Proto First Order. You haven't read Aftermath, right? But I mean, you probably know kind of the basics.
I know, yeah.
So
going back to our conversation last time, I know what happens in it.
Right. So for those who don't, basically Aftermath sees what's his name?
Gallius Rax.
Gallius Rax. I always forget his name. Gallius Rax basically sets up Jakku and also attempts to destroy a bunch of the Imperial forces. Like, he tries to go like scorched earth on the Empire, kind of for, punishment for letting Palpatine die. Basically what I remember. And that is Rey Sloane ends up preventing that. And what ends up happening is she leaves with a bunch of the loyalist chosen Imperial forces to go and leave the galaxy. And yeah, like, they're gone, and not everyone's taken, like, or not leave the galaxy, sorry.
Gallius Rax tells her that there's already people in the unknown regions, including Senior Hux is the one we see in this scene.
Yes.
So Hux is already out there with some of the younger ones. It's like there's already the sprinklings of a First Order.
Well, I believe
before Rax sends her out.
So at first, I believe they're in one of the nebulas, and then they meet up because there's like 1,000 Imperial ships that have just been hiding. Because she's like, where the fuck? Because she goes through like the record of remember in the Dark Black Fleet Crisis when they find she basically does that, and she's like, where the fuck are all these ships? Like, where's the super? Like, how do we lose a Super Star Destroyer? And then I think at the end they leave, but she's with Hux, and she's like she's a Grand Admiral, so she's the ranking commander. But it's a bit weird because I get the feeling that Pelion is not one of those Imperials. He seems he still seems to be in the galaxy. So it's kind of weird because initially it seemed like the Imperials who were leaving almost wanted whoever was left, the Imperials left in the galaxy, to like fight and fall apart. But now they're kind of more directly helping them, even sending them resources.
Well, I think it's a situation where the First Order people are kind of hiding their actual power, and I think that's why it's Hux instead of Sloane that's there. So I don't know if anyone else knows how much is going on in the unknown regions or in the First Order or future First Order, because I don't think they're the First Order yet. And it's kind of like the Empire of the Hand almost, but in reverse.
Yeah.
Where
it's kind of like that.
They know they've got a little bit out there. They don't know how big it actually is. Except the difference is in this situation, the Empire of the Hand is sending a few resources back.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, because again, a lot of this lore was only really established in Aftermath, which was one of the, I believe it was the first canon trilogy. It was one of the first canon novels. There were a couple of individual ones, like Tarkin came out before that, I believe. But I think what will happen is that Thrawn coming back will be the thing that kind of changed the math there, where they're like, okay, if Thrawn's coming back, then maybe we've got a shot just winning straight up. And like, plus they're seeing like all the shit the New Republic's doing. They're like, okay, maybe we don't need to wait 30 years like out in the fucking blackness of space. Maybe we can just body them now.
Well, it also seems like they're expecting when Thrawn comes back, that'll come with like some other amount of military force. I'm not sure if they mean that they think Thrawn's going to bring a fleet with him, or if that'll draw some other people to their side. But like, I think it's kind of being set up as like, this is the known galaxy remnant stuff happens, then the First Order stuff is like they have a lot of connections, obviously, but that's later. And I think it's easy to lose sight of the fact that the time difference between the Mandoverse here and the sequel trilogy is about equal to the length of the entire Empire's lifespan between the Clone Wars, the end of the Clone Wars, and Episode 6. So there's a lot that can change in that time.
Yeah, you're right. Like another thing too, it's also been a long time since Endor and since Jakku. One thing I'm curious about is Okay, I also say one thing that I really loved, and this was perfect for Pelion. I think they nailed how he acted here. He, like, they were talking about like abandoning Thrawn, and he looked uncomfortable. Like he was like,
yeah,
no. And that's kind of the question I have for you. Do you? I personally don't feel like any of them have made contact directly with Thrawn. Like people were saying, I think Thrawn's in the room over one of their shoulders. Like I disagree completely.
No.
Maybe Pelion has, but like I think Thrawn doesn't really know how to get back yet. Like I think he's dealing with kind of the same issue that like the reverse issue of Ahsoka. I think he's found a way to communicate. He's like, hey boys, like I'm on the way. Like I called the Uber, not here yet. Like Wi-Fi's down. Start pre-drinking, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think they're in contact because we know with the magistrate, like he's talking to people, but he's definitely not like actively involved there yet.
Yeah,
that's at least my opinion. So I agree with you.
Joel also had a good question too in the chat, because there's a whole other issue of like who knows that Palpatine is back on Exegol and what is Project Necro? I think it was Necromancer. I mean, Necromancer could be about, like, they talk about clones. Like, Huck's the one, he says Hux is the one who's obsessed with clones. It seems like Gideon's off just fucking doing his own thing. Like, he's clearly building an army that they're not even really super familiar with. Because he's kind of low-key lying about it, too. Who knows that Palpatine is back on Exegol? I'm guessing there's like another faction of like his super Sith Eternal folks who are, you know, they're like the ride or dies. Necromancy obviously means raising the dead, but that could mean yes, the literal dead of Palpatine or the figurative dead of the Imperial army.
Yeah,
or
like
Snoke.
They might be aware that they're trying to bring Palpatine back. But if they knew Palpatine was like Voldemorting it up in the unknown regions, they wouldn't be talking about how they might need to find new leadership other than Thrawn, because they know they have Palpatine waiting to come in as soon as his life alert lets him.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's like in the Namek saga when Vegeta's like in the healing chamber, just vibing.
Just give him some time.
Yeah, just let him chill. Let him cook.
But what do you think the chances are that some of those other unnamed warlords we saw in that room were left unnamed intentionally to pull in some Zinjas or some Dallas?
I think it's pretty high at this point. I mean, yeah, there were definitely some options. I definitely thought Dala with that first woman. I thought that she would have been a decent Dala. And there are plenty of robust men, and that's all I need for Zinj, really. There were no, like, handlebar mustaches, but there were plenty of... there was some facial hair. Somebody... who was it? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I guess Evan sent me a tweet about how... one of the actresses had white hair, or two-toned white and black hair, when they were filming this, and it was dyed for this. So I think we all know one director of Imperial Intelligence who had white and black hair.
But is there anyone who had like two different color eyes? I feel like that could be used on a character to really show some kind of duality.
Yeah, duality.
I don't know.
Maybe different types of anger, maybe hot and cold anger. But yeah,
it just seems like something they should explore for a future Star Wars novel or show. They can have that one for free.
Yeah. But other than that, what do you? So these troopers that Gideon has,
clones.
Are they for sure clones?
I don't think they're for sure clones, but I'm thinking they're clones
of him.
Like partially of him. It seems like it's kind of what Pershing was talking about with the strain cast.
Yeah, right. And they got inconsistent
I don't know if they got anywhere.
armor.
Like, we know that Gideon mentioned like Jedi, Mandalorians, and himself, I guess, as the three categories of Superman, which is a little conceited. Am I right? Did he say himself as the third one?
No, he said Jedi, cloners, and
Mandalorians. You're right. Okay, so I apologize to Giancarlo.
Yeah.
He would
Who
never
had no
play an arrogant
mustache? Where
character.
was his mustache?
I don't know. So I'm watching Better Call Saul right now. I watched it all the way here. So seeing the first no mustache felt natural to me, but
I've never watched that show.
Just the general Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul milieu that that Gus Fring is in, it feels a lot like that the Warlord Council, where he's off doing his thing, and then you got the Salamancas that are like, "Hey, what are you doing?" It all ties together. So what I'm saying is that Better Call Saul is in fact canon.
Okay. Someone says the New Republic confiscated his mustache. Okay, so let's. Is there anything else about the Moffrents you want to cover, or should we move on?
No, I think like that seems to be setting up mostly for, well, Gideon's own stuff in the Mandalorian, but I think it is setting up more for the Ahsoka and Heir to the Empire movie, in my opinion, at least. But maybe we'll see. Do you still think we're gonna get Thrawn next episode? I guess we'll finish on that.
I don't know. I guess let's just talk about next episode predictions, just generally. Like, for one, the thing that I would bet money on, the obvious one, Chekhov's Mythosaur, where like someone's going to ride it. I'm guessing Bo is going to ride it and save Din Djarin. That's my obvious prediction. I think it's very likely that we see Boba Fett as well. I think, and this is something else that I noticed, and I think you talked about it as well. There are a bunch of ships missing from the fleet by the time they arrive at Mandalore. There are other Mandalorian factions out there. You've talked about Fen Rao, and that's a great call. Boba Fett, I'm guessing, may show up as well. And I think that'll kind of
Sabine, allegedly.
Yeah, so there's been a rumor as well that Mon Mothma will be in the finale. This was a very questionable rumor. So I think it's possible that they also do call in... what's the name of the squadron again? The one that we saw earlier with like Zeb. Is it the Cavernaces? Or no, is that something else?
I don't remember the squadron name.
So I think it's
Davis.
Yeah. I think it's possible we see them, because I mean that would also explain why they had him actually show up at on their planet. Also, regarding Ray Sloan, I just wanted to mention too, because I meant to say that I think that she was probably just busy. She's got other shit to do.
Yeah, I feel like Hux is an intentional delegation of it. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, it's because they just forgot. But you can't put Bendel Hux in, or they didn't know about her. You can't put Bendel Hux in if you don't know about Ray Sloan, because they're from the same places, basically. So it has to be an intentional choice not to have her.
The only thing is about Hux is like the average fan is
there's
much
the connection to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like on the production side.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's not just because they don't know who Ray Sloan is, if they know who Bendal Hux is, or if that option was given to them. But
Adelphi Rangers, Brendel. Yeah. Thanks, Jet.
But the there has to be someone coming, regardless of whether it's the Adelphi Rangers, the Boba Fett's, or Fen Rao with some kind of rebuilt Mandalorian protectors, because most of the ones from Rebels are in fact executed. But it's been years. He could rebuild like all the other Mandalorians do on a regular basis, because like Bo-Katan seemed terrified of the fighters and bombers being sent out. So I think it's meant to imply that like if they get there, we're going to see some carnage, and then someone else comes in to save the day. I think that's the trope we're going for. But
yeah, and it will be exciting. I think they have a really good chance to pull it off well. Like I saw someone saying, like, because I mentioned that in a video, and they're like, "That's not possible. Tatooine's across the galaxy." I was just like, "What the fuck are you trying to say?" Yeah, like
my thing with Boba Fett, why I'm leaning less into, like, he's the biggest name, so I think like from an out of universe standpoint, it makes most sense for him to show up, just because like the connection between the shows. But the only one in their group that would really contact him would be Din, and I feel like we'd see Din doing that.
It's a fair point.
Whereas the dispatched Gozantes and Gauntlets
would
be more likely to go. You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
What does Din not have? Okay, yeah, sorry.
The dispatched gauntlets and Gozantes would be more likely to go to other Mandalorians that claim to be Mandalorians. You can go now.
What does Din not have with him? 2 things.
The Darksaber.
No. His
The
starfighter and his droid. The droid can fly the starfighter back to Tatooine.
Luke did that with an astromech and Grogu.
How? Yeah, that's what I just figured out. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how the episode starts off, with like a shot of the N1 flying down to Tatooine, landing. It's what's her name in the thing. She's like, "Oh, where's my little boy?" And then it's like it's R5, and she's like, "Call Boba Fett. Mando's stuck in a well," and like basically like that. I think that's what's gonna happen.
I think that's a reasonable theory. I'd co-sign that.
Okay. Because I gotta tweet that. R5 was on Mandalore. Shit. Someone said he's on Mandalore. Okay, never mind.
All right, well,
damn.
Go fuck yourself. He could leave. No one cares how long travel takes in Star Wars.
Damn. I thought I had an ironclad theory there.
Oh well. At least you didn't make a clip before someone pointed that out to you with a 30% CTR.
What do I care? Fine. I'm not allowed to make mistakes now? I'm just a man. Damn, he was in the scout party and everything.
All right, well, get fucked.
Well, yeah, fuck me, I guess.
So you have also been letting everyone know about your fears that Mr. Din Djarin may not, in fact, survive.
I'm a little worried about it. And I mean, like, from a business... Everyone talks about, these are business properties. That's why Grogu is back in Mando. It sucks. I don't know. For one, I did get sucked into all of that likely fake stuff about... what's his name? Pedro Pascal being unhappy. I talked to somebody really in the know, and they're like, no. That was all about season 1. Like, when he wasn't showing his face and before the show came out. And all this stuff now is basically nonsense. And I do believe that, but I'm a little worried. I don't know. I
don't see it happening.
I
have 2 reasons I don't see it happening.
Hit me.
All right. Reason 1.
Okay.
Grogu was originally not supposed to be back yet. That was clearly a decision they made later on in the process of writing because they wanted the dynamic back. If they wanted the dynamic back, they would not have moved that up with the intention of having him killed already, unless that changed after they decided to bring Grogu back right away. Because otherwise you never get that dynamic back because Din ends the season dead.
Okay. That's
Reason
a really
2
good...
Is I think what they're setting up, and this isn't an original thought for me, I think a lot of people are assuming this, is that the way we get the traditional season end Pedro Pascal face reveal is the helmet gets taken off him by force in front of the other Mandalorians. And I think you do that without killing him because that's how you set up the whole, they'll need to make a choice on whether they accept that from him and he's still a Mandalorian, or if they go back to like, okay, you got to go down the street, dunk in the well, and then you can come back.
Right. Yeah. I wish they would have done that with Paz Vizsla, the Praetorian guards. That would have been tough.
Yeah, I was hoping that would be the direction they go, but I can't remember when we were talking about our predictions for deaths. I think Paz was like my third place, but I was less solid on it. My like half court shot was Bo-Katan, so
I think Bo-Katan's gonna survive. I think she'll survive through next episode as well. I don't think we're gonna get any major deaths if we don't get Din. I think Bo-Katan's gonna survive. I think Din probably survive. They're not gonna kill Boba Fett if he shows up. Yeah, I don't know. I think what they may have to do is abandon Mandalore though, or Mandalore gets somehow, like, if there's gonna be a death, I think it's gonna be of their hopes of getting shit going on Mandalore.
So it's a philosophical death, not an actual death. Yeah. I mean, Paz Vizsla's death is, I think, a big deal, but
I gotta say, I underestimated how much people would care about that. I really liked his death too. Like, I saw a lot of people kind of angry that the Praetorian guards were involved, which, like, don't really get that, because, like, I get not liking The Last Jedi, but the Praetorian guards are sick. Like, I don't like that movie very much, but I like the Praetorian guards. Like, they're really cool. They're like this mysterious, hyper lethal, like he had just annihilated like 60 dudes, and they come and just absolutely, like, they don't even get a scratch on him. They're like GG no re, like he's out bleeding on the floor.
Yeah, I'm glad we got a little bit of aggro out of him, because I feel like having him be like fully accepting of the other Mandalorians and not blowing up over the chess match would have been disrespectful to what we know as his kind of asshole character.
He's a freak, he's a freak.
But poor Ragnar has been just shit on all season, because he's been nearly eaten twice, sort of eaten once, and now his dad's dead.
Yeah, that's true.
So
maybe Mando will have two kids.
Does Din adopt, or does like one of the other Mandalorians adopt Ragnar as their own foundling now?
Bo-Katan.
She's already got a son.
Corky? Is that no? Corky's Satine's, right? Yeah. Who's her?
I don't. It's weird. I don't know if he's like a distant
son. I thought.
No, because I think he calls both of them aunt.
Oh.
Doesn't he? Am I wrong
but
on that?
Isn't the theory that Corky's Obi-Wan's son?
Okay.
I thought?
Yeah, but there's also the theory that fucking Snoke is Obi-Wan. So what do you want from me? Or Kino Loy?
Corky was born into the Mandalorian political family of his aunt. No, so it is. So he's not her son. I guess the theory would be it's a lie and that he's actually her son. I guess that would be the theory. Okay.
Yeah.
I never paid attention to the Mandalorian stuff from the Clone Wars, and it always comes back to fucking bite me.
I don't know if they have like a third sister or a brother, or it's just like a cousin situation where it's like a second cousin and they say, "Oh, my aunt," like. Because I do that with like a lot of my parents' friends, so maybe it's that kind of situation where like Satine and Bo-Katan got drunk with Corky's actual parents,
like Uncle Charlie.
Yeah, like how I call Charlie Uncle. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I'm excited to see how that all shapes out, and I'm also excited to see what the state of the Mandos, like just as a whole, is at the end of this next episode. I don't think it's going to be all peace. I do think Bo-Katan is going to be the new Mandalore. Like, I think she's going to ride the Mythosaur with the Darksaber in her hand and just fucking slash somebody out. But
yeah, it's just so weird to me, because like you get the talk from Din and you get like all the setup they're doing in season 1 and 2 of like maybe the traditions aren't what matter. Maybe it's more important that Din has this connection with Grogu. Din is talking about how like his people, other than apparently Paz Vizsla and all the former Death Watch people, so maybe Din just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. His people don't care about the Darksaber. It's just he's following her. But the show is also saying like, but it's also important that you do have this, and we're going to highlight that you have this. So I'm wondering if that is setting up for her losing it in some kind of way, and then the Mandalorians
and then they don't give a shit. Like maybe the Darksaber's destroyed. Yeah. That's a good idea. I would love that. The Darksaber gets destroyed and no one gives a shit. Yeah, like I like that idea.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, with saying the traditions both were limiting to the Mandalorians, but are also how we're going to justify all the stuff that's happening.
That's a good idea. I actually really like that idea. It won't happen because they sell too many at Galaxy's Edge. No, I'm just kidding.
Do they? I buy one?
They do sell them. Yeah, they I saw them when they were there. Yeah, they were like brand new. I don't know. Live action real Darksabers kind of look like shit, because it's like, well, they don't look like shit, but it's an impossible, weapon. Yeah.
I just want the hilt. I don't care about the blade.
Okay, so let's talk about and I know you're kind of running low on time, so do you need to head out now, or do you want to?
No, I'm good. I can go for a little bit.
Okay. There's two things I want to talk about before we leave. For one, Dark Trooper stuff, and I think we'll come back to that. For two, the name of the episode is The Spies. Spies.
Yep.
Now, I'm wondering, for one, is the sequence with the Imperial at the beginning as simple as we think? Could she be a double traitor? And then the obvious question, who is the spy? There's like two really big names that I've seen thrown out. Axe Woves and the Armorer.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Axe Woves.
Axe Woves, Shuwo?
Yeah, and the Armorer. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so before we get into that, I do want to say I got a comment, I forget who it was by, that talked about like the potential for it to be a biblical reference with the spies referring to language used to refer to like Israelites seeing the land. So it could
Not
be less
educated enough
like
for that.
spies, as in the sleuths that we generally think of, or they're just the scouting party, and those are the spies, not as a like
Okay.
position or like treacherous kind of spy, but as a like they're getting to the promised land now.
One thing
so
I'll say
doesn't.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. I continue. My bad.
No, go for it.
I just say one thing I'll say is that usually when the when the Mandalorian titles an episode like that, like the Duchess, like whatever, it's pretty self-evident what it means by the end. So,
well, with this season, a lot of them have been referring to multiple as well, where like the Foundling referred to like 3 different people in that episode. The Mines of Mandalore was like they were the Mines of Mandalore, but it was also Bo-Katan and Sewer Grievous saying the Darksaber was mine. So it was a bunch of people saying mine on Mandalore.
yeah.
But
I don't know what that one, but continue.
look, I tried to make it work, but I don't know. I guess the 2 biggest theories are, or I guess the 3 biggest theories. We have the survivors who they found on Mandalore. You have Act 12 and the armor. With the survivors,
You don't need to say it that way, man.
So the fact that Gideon didn't know that, like, he seemed genuinely surprised by the fact that the other Mandalorians were working together, I think is a point against the armor being the spy, because Axe wouldn't necessarily have known that at the time. He wouldn't have known about Navarro, and the survivors wouldn't have either. The armor would have. So if she was feeding him information, he'd know that. The other thing is he seemed to not be surprised. I don't know how important this is. This might just be like them yada-yadaing some stuff. He didn't seem surprised that Bo-Katan had the Darksaber and that Din didn't. So that'd be something that Axe knows, that the armor knows, or the armor would know but wouldn't necessarily have had time to tell Gideon because they were all there. Like she would have found out like right as they were leaving, and that the survivors don't know anything about. So that'd be the point against them. But like the survivors, you'd think they could have come across the mines before. They've said they've never left. Like they still live there.
Well, they knew where
I think that was more.
But
yeah,
like I think they just did say shows not. Yeah, no, that's fair.
So I don't think that's like a smoking gun thing that they were definitely there before, but I think it's reasonable to come to the conclusion potentially that they led them into that trap. But
is it
they
possible,
also kind of died there.
Is it possible that the agent at the beginning, I can't remember her name, is a double agent?
Elia Kane?
Yeah, Kane. Could she
like
be
a triple agent?
Well, she's double crossing the Empire. She's crossing the New Republic, double crossing the Empire, I guess.
I don't know if they were going like the 3 layers deep crossing.
Well, there wouldn't really be 3 layers. Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. Because I guess she
betrayed the Empire to go to the New Republic.
Time,
They betrayed the New Republic to go to the Empire, but really she's betraying the.
Yeah, that's true.
The Empire
that would
to
be
go
a bit
back
of a mess,
to the New Republic.
It?
It's a little too cute for me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, do you think Gideon's gonna die this next episode? Because like, it's been 2 finales that he's been. Is he or isn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe, but then I just wouldn't trust it if he did. But like if they're setting up for like the Mandalorians having other challenges, then maybe. But it just feels like it'd be hard to both resolve everything going on with Gideon, resolve some stuff with the New Republic, or at least use the New Republic to set some stuff up, same with the Empire, and do all the Mandalorian stuff in one episode. Like it just, I don't know that it makes sense for him to die and just finish that all right now. I also don't think it really makes. I don't think it'd be satisfying for them to do another ending where he just goes into hiding either. So I hope it's not just like Moff Gideon's blasting off again to come back in season 4. Like I'd be okay with it not fully resolving anything. Like it doesn't tie up this story arc at the end of the season.
It would be a little disappointing for him to die after only appearing in 2 episodes for the season as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good call. Yeah. So the one issue that the one line that I didn't like and that I thought was annoying was his bit about the Dark Trooper. And I was watching with subtitles on. You probably were too. Did you notice when he comes down, they don't say Gideon talking. It's like Dark Trooper. So the whole thing that we learn in the finale, and this is a stupid small complaint, but like the whole thing we learn in the finale of season 2 is that the Dark Trooper design initially used a soldier in it, and that was the weak point. So they moved to droids, and then now it's like, nah, dog, we were just joking because he's like,
well,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't think that's an inconsistency. I think that's the point, is that Gideon is a egotistical piece of shit, and that's going to turn out to be part of his undoing.
So you don't think this is going to be Dark Trooper Model 4?
I don't think we're going to get too much. Like, I think we're kind of seeing I think it's going to be better than the pure mech ones, but just as like an advancement of the technology in general. But I do think like it's not going to be that Gideon has stumbled onto something brilliant here, because he's...
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna say, we only saw 2 people kill one of those other ones. They're pretty badass.
Yeah. But like, do you think we're going to get more than just Gideon in the near future in them?
It seems like he's changed his approach to building those super commandos instead.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I do like the fact, because I was like, initially when I was like, he's on Mandalore, like, that's kind of dumb. But the idea that he's on there, that also helps explain why the planet's in better condition than everyone was lying about, than everyone thought. I like that he's there for a reason. He's mining the shit out of the planet for Beskar. I thought that made a lot of sense. Yeah. I also really liked the look of the base. It was very like Dark Forces like, where it's like underground, big cracks, you know. I hope we see... I'm really excited for the space battle next episode too, because the ship stuff looks so good.
Yeah, the fleets look fantastic, but I think it's also a good sign for Din that this is so Dark Forces, in that he's going like raw mock mode with the Dark Trooper.
Yeah, totally.
Because you could cheese the shit out of that fight. Easy boss fight ever.
What, get him in the elevator? Isn't that the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you like get him stuck in an elevator or something, I think is the strategy. Yeah.
And then you're just done.
Yeah.
If they work that in, like...
I can't wait till Bo gets till he gets a flechette launcher. Which kind of reminded me, I was thinking this when they were taking his, because they disarm him and they're like just ripping shit off his suit. He's like, no, that was for me to pee in. But I don't think he's used those whistling birds at all this season, has he?
Nope, not yet.
Yeah.
Which you'd think that would have been a good opportunity for him to do it there, but
yeah.
Instead, he was like courting 2 people and
yeah. Oh well. Also, I get why they didn't try to jump in and save him. They literally had him as a fucking hostage. They would have just shot him in the head.
Yeah.
Like, that was... I saw that complaint a lot. Like, why didn't... Grogu... I wish they would have had more of Grogu's reaction. Like, him just freaking out, like, force screaming or something.
No.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. But, like, you can't go in, because they're just going to shoot him in the head.
Yeah. I did see people saying, like, oh, well, why didn't Bo-Katan just cut through the other door? It's like,
it took, like, 20 minutes.
Yeah, she's not good at this yet.
Plus, they were trying to shoot through it. Like, it would have taken a long time.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to talk about while I'm still here before the solo portion?
I don't.
I've got my general thoughts out.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, overall, great episode. Really excited. Here's one final question. What's your time prediction for the finale? How long? I'm saying 45 minutes.
70 minutes.
70 minutes. I hope that'd be awesome.
A man's got a dream.
Also, do you think we're seeing the New Republic? Yes or no?
Yeah, there's going to be something New Republic related.
Will they be at the battle?
I think the Adelphi Rangers are a reasonable possibility. Mm-hmm. I'd put them above 50% odds on showing up.
Okay.
But
they got that Y-Wing model made. I don't think it's an accident.
An E-Wing could show up before Sabine's butt.
I'll have to close the stream.
just
yeah.
It's gonna play really well on the audio portion.
Yeah, I was pointing like a nerd.
Yeah. So, well, I'm planning to do a live reaction to the show again.
Yeah,
Are
me
you
too.
once bitten, twice shy? Okay, you're gonna go for it again.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll start a little bit early and do some predictions, and then we'll both have some final thoughts as we go into the last portion of the episode. We'll be back next Thursday to do a full recap as well. That's going to do it for me. If you're on my side of the stream, you want to go over to
I only
X
got
channel,
about 10 minutes
going?
but
okay.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for watching, and thanks for listening, everyone on Tapcaf Transmissions, the audio portion. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye.
All right, chat. I gotta go do something. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm gonna read all your super chats that I missed, and thanks. Corey's just gone. I'm gonna read all your super chats, read questions. I'll be back in just a moment. Jesus Christ. Heavy boy. All right. Murphy, say hi. All right. Let's get you down. Oh, that dog is heavy. No time to answer Tapcaf emails today. Thank you for the donation. I'm going to take some time. Get my breath. That dog is really heavy, and I was running upstairs. Get my breath. Let's read some things. 1 second. Trying to see how I read super chats here. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to go through, read all the super chats. Again, so sorry. So sorry I didn't read them during the recording. Just fix the webcam. Okay. First of all, we had Jacob, $10. Thank you. Bane said, Mustache Daddy is back. EU fans can die happy. Yeah, and he looked great. I was so happy with that. Ed. I love the name Ed. My best friend in law school's name was Edgar, which is a great name. Especially when you're like not... My grandfather's name was also Edgar. Did you like the old school claymation style Babu? Yeah, I thought Babu looked great. Steve. Do you think Mando should use arc structure like Andor / the Clone Wars? No, I think Mando works much better episodically. We dealt with this one about thrawn, or about Palpatine being back. Joel says Snoke canon Sabayoth is just calling it. I don't think so. Oh, this is a good question. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, chat. Do you think if Thrawn does come back, he'll return in an Imperial style, so like standard ISDs, or with Empire of the Hand stuff? For those who don't know, Empire of the Hand in Legends was Thrawn's kind of little region he had out in space where he was using a mix of Chiss and Imperial technology. I think it's actually going to be kind of similar to that, but it's not going to be Chiss. It'll be Imperial mixed with something else. So, the Storyteller with his first super chat on the channel. Are you surprised that we didn't get to see Sloane within the Shadow Council? Yeah, not surprised. Just because I honestly thought that... I think they chose Pelion because he's one of the most well-known Legends EU characters. And Hux, I think it was mostly because of the relationship with Hux from the sequel trilogy that people recognized. Do you think Gideon might release a copy of Sabine's weapon that she invented during the Empire's reign over the galaxy? No, I didn't like... You're referring to the thing in Rebels that like targets Mandalorian armor. I really didn't like that idea. I thought it was kind of lame in Rebels, and I don't think they'll redo that here. It's just a little too cheesy. Mando would not do well in a well. He sinks fast. Yes. Armor being a traitor. I think we covered that one. My theory. Gideon escapes, but his shuttle gets blown up by Thrawn. Why would Thrawn do that, though? I don't think Thrawn is back. That's my kind of bigger problem. And yeah, the issue is I mean, that's what we see in. That's what we see. She changes it to target stormtrooper armor, and they all have Beskar now, so it would hit them as well. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that. Yeah, no Tapcaf emails this time. New Republic spy and Shadow Council. I didn't really get that feeling either. I don't think so. But feel free to drop more donations. I'll do it until we go through all of them. And I will also answer some questions in the chat. Just 1 second. Okay. Let's see. Post credit for Thrawn. I don't know. I don't really think. I know they announced Book of Boba Fett like that, but I think Star Wars likes to keep all their actual story in the episode. So I'm gonna guess probably not. Sorry. Probably not. Thoughts on the possibility of Boba showing up? Yeah, we talked about this during the actual Tapcaf episode. I think I'd put Boba's likelihood of showing up as above 50%. I think that I really liked my theory that R5 and the N1 went to go get him, but obviously that's not the case because he's apparently there. Sorry for the... You guys can probably hear those Facebook notifications. I'm sorry. Ethan, just showing love from Halifax. Nice, man. Love the episode. Yeah, I really liked it as well. And yeah, Halifax. Same as me. Well, I'm in... Yeah, HRM. Fen Rao hopefully appears. I think it's pretty likely. Like, the big reason why I didn't think Fen Rao would be, the big appearance is because I just don't think he's that exciting of a character. And, like, a lot of people, even if you're a Rebels fan, I think you might not know who Fen Rao is. Is Gideon a reference to Raw Mock? I mean, in a way, I was trying to think... I was kind of trying to think whether I would have liked for him to have the big Dark Trooper armor or not. I still can't decide because like Mock obviously has like the big, he's got like the shoulder cannon and stuff. Would have been kind of cool. Oh, thank you, Theo, for the $5 donation. References to Abeloth Eldritch monsters in the unknown region. Ahsoka has a connection to Morai. Be neat if Thrawn was on Abeloth's planet. Yeah. That could be interesting. I don't think they're gonna do that though. Although there's something weird going on based on those two Darksiders, so who knows? So in canon is Moff Gideon the Dark Trooper creator. It seems like his faction is the one that created the Dark Trooper, yeah. And I'm kind of wondering now whether they're going to... Actually, no. I'm kind of wondering how long he's been on Mandalore. Like, does this now mean that the Phase 3 Dark Troopers we saw in Season 2, did they have Beskar as well? Or did he just recently move to Mandalore? I gotta rewatch the episode. I don't think Luke will show up, no. Regarding the Ahsoka post-credit scene, I think that's definitely possible. I'm gonna put a poll up for you guys, chat, if I can do that. I'm curious to see what you guys thought of the start a poll. Did you like the Praetorian guards? Yeah, just gonna ask you guys straight up what you guys thought. I'm very curious. Sabine might show up. I could definitely see it. Andor's low-key dark forces. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was really shocked to see. Like, again, I'm not somebody who loves Episode 9. I'm also obviously not like a militant sequel hater or anything like that. But I thought they were really sick. And yeah, totally frightening. I also liked how the design was obviously not quite what they had, 25 years later. But it was still pretty cool. And yeah, they looked more Mandalorian themed. Although I don't think that was really the intention because they're not Mandalorian. So the ones in Episode 9 aren't actually Praetorian guards anymore. Those are his sovereign protectors, which seem to be completely separate. Yeah, I guess now that you mentioned, I guess it's possible we see the Praetorian Guards in Ahsoka now too, right? Maybe not even possible, maybe likely. Yeah, overwhelmingly, you guys liked it. 188 votes so far. So thank you for all the super chats, guys. We'll go for a little bit longer here. Why were their weapons purple? Just earlier version of the technology, I imagine. Right? Speaking of purple, I'll show you guys this. It's kind of cool. I've got a Cal Kestis lightsaber. I don't have a blade for it yet, but it's really heavy. It's like you could dome somebody with this. It causes a lot of damage. Like if someone breaks into my house, first, and I'm in my office, first thing I'm reaching for is the Cal Kestis saber. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Very heavy, and it's nice because it's not like the one they had before. This is the new version that they're selling now. It's not like the one they had before where it was all busted up like it is in the first game. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Imperial Guards would have been fine too, I think. Grogu navigate to Boba in the N1 by himself in the IG robot. Did you get that at the Survivor event? Yes. Did guard staff penetrate Paz Beskar or hit gaps? I mean, for one, I don't know how much of Paz's armor is Beskar. Obviously a lot because he was taking those shots. Even with Beskar, you can get through it after enough time. Like, it's not invincible. But I'm guessing they also hit gaps. Like, the way you look, they very, strategically attack him. Not Abeloth, how about the 1/Morris and Ahsoka? That's actually where Star Wars Legends was going to go with... we did get Abeloth, and then the next arc was going to be Luke traveling to Mortis. I don't think they're going to do that in canon. That was going to be the plan for Episode 9, when it was Colin Trevorrow's. They were going to go to Mortis, and there was going to be a duel on it, but yeah. Oh, someone said Paz had holes in his armor. That's my thoughts on... What do you think about Star Wars Theory? I think he's pretty cool. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I don't have beef with anybody. How is Zahn gonna retcon everything Thrawn doing in Mandoverse to say? Yeah, how is Zahn gonna do that? I'm not sure, because that is what he likes to do. Eckhart and Generation Tech. It's funny. I actually really early on when I was starting out, Generation Tech's channel I think had about 100k subscribers. I was very early on, maybe like 5k, and they referenced one of the videos I did, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I remember telling my wife, I was like, look, this big YouTube channel, he shouted it, like I had a theory or something, and one of them had the same theory, and I thought that was cool. So yeah, they make really... One thing I like about Generation Tech is he makes really different content than the rest of us. Yeah. I know it's multiple guys who run the channel, but I've never met them in real life. Maybe I have. I don't know. There was one Battlefront event in 2017 that pretty much everyone went to. The arc hammer, I think that our chance for that would have been in Season 2. Do the White Commandos have Beskar? Yes. Stop spamming. I will say, hockey YouTube is very different. You guys might not know this, but I also do I've got a hockey channel too. It's very different than Star Wars YouTube. Heavy Spoilers, yeah, I talk to Heavy Spoilers all the time. He's a great dude, and I feel bad because there was one time where I kind of dragged him a little bit, because he put a spoiler, too much. Like there's a fine line you got to walk. Like for me, if it's in the first few minutes, like this shot, and you wait a day, it's probably okay. The Gideon one or the Pelion one was iffy. I decided to do it because without knowing who it is, it probably doesn't mean much. But yeah, I called him out, and I was kind of a dick about it. Like most of it, like if I'm being honest, most of my past conflicts with people is because I was just kind of being a dick. So Paul is, I believe his name's Paul. I called him out on it, and he apologized to everyone, and I was like, man, I'm so sorry. I was way too harsh on you. And he was like, it's all good. And then we talk all the time now. Not recently, but like we talk YouTube strategy and stuff. It's great. It's great. Ice hockey. The Rangers aren't my team. Thrawn is with the Empire of the Hand. Do you think we'll see Soontir Fel? I don't think he is with the Empire of the Hand. I think he's stuck from wherever he got sent to in Rebels. Soontir Fel is canon, though. So. Yeah, I hit him with the sorry, for sure. Go Canes. We might be playing each other in the first round. Oh, go Devils. We'll be playing one of you. Paul does an excellent job. And one thing that I really appreciate, about him is his team he's got set up. He's very efficient. I know he pays his people well. I know he pays his people well. I really respect that. I've got a team now too. I've got 4 full people that this channel, everything on here, pretty much. Occasionally I'll get help. Everything on here I record, I edit. It's all my voice, my thoughts. But like my clips channel, Charlie obviously helps me. Zach, who you guys may know, you might not know, he does some editing for this channel occasionally. And he'll also help with scripts and stuff for clips, and he runs the Marvel one. And my buddy Brandon, my best friend growing up, he runs the hockey channel with me. He doesn't do voice stuff yet, but he does scripts and some editing. Sorry, I had something stuck in my throat. You'll recognize it's him if you hear funny little phrases. It's probably him. Sad that it's shifting away from Din. Kendi ruining Star Wars yet again. How she is still in charge. Clear John and Kendi are at odds. Listen, I don't know anything going on about Lucasfilm. I think it's easy to speculate. Kathleen Kennedy very well could be the one who pushed it. I don't know. For me, it's less important who's doing it and more important that it happened. Like, I'm not a big fan of Grogu and Mando being reunited. It probably was Kathleen Kennedy, but it might have also been Jon Favreau. I don't know, but yeah, I don't like it. It's okay. Don't worry about the spamming. Yeah, I don't think the horns necessarily have anything to do with Maul either, Jeremy. Also, I am looking at taking one more employee. Probably not full time yet, but Sam Witwer's return will I don't know much about Screen Crush. Sam Witwer's return will save the franchise. I used to play Star Wars Squadrons with Sam Witwer all the time. He's such a nice dude. He's a really good Squadrons player as well. But we'd talk, off stream sometimes too, because we'd stream or we'd just play, and he's just such a good dude, and he knows so much about Star Wars. He could be the number one Star Wars YouTuber because he's handsome, he's got a great voice, and he just knows so much about it. Like, in a trivia contest, he would dust me. Because I've got an awful memory. He would absolutely dust me in a trivia contest. No question. Joel Davis. Personally feel like this season Favreau has done more on his own without Filoni direct collaboration like in season 1 and 2. Yeah, I really don't know. There's... It definitely... Oh, sorry, Dino. I've had a cough. I'll get your super chat in a second. Sorry for missing that. Oh, yeah, I see it. I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, it definitely feels like something has changed, but like I don't like speculating because I don't know. Like I don't know who's doing it. Sometimes I feel like I don't like what Filoni's doing. Like in that Ahsoka episode, I didn't like what he was doing visually a lot, and then I kind of I just don't like to speculate. I like to just say what I like or don't like. But yeah, Dino with the $10 donation. Really sorry for missing that. I do like that the unknown regions are slowly being explored, or at least in a lore-like way, but I kind of hope we get close to the Red Nebula or something with like a Shadow Apprentice. That's an interesting idea. I like that it's being explored too. I think that the Red Nebula, you mean the one that's like between Exegol and the rest of space, right? There was a Red Nebula in Legends too, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. I think that's called the Red Nebula. But yeah, that would be interesting. I would like to see that as well, because I really like the idea of Exegol. I think the execution had some issues. I know I'm not a huge comics guy, but I know Vader's been there in the comics, and I know there's those giant space monsters. I think that's cool. But yeah, I would like to see that as well. I do think Thrawn's somewhere else, though. I don't think he's near there. I think he's somewhere else. But I also remember they go to a Red Nebula in the classic Marvel comics as well. Enfys Nest in Andor Season 2, that would be good. I'd like to see Enfys Nest reappear, for sure. With Lizzo and Jack Black now in Star Wars, are there any celebrities you'd love to see show up? Not really. I'm not a celebrity, but I'm a YouTuber. I'd say me as a background character. Would love to see a show about Sebulba's gritty rise to the criminal elements in the galactic pod racing circuits. I'd love if we got to a point where they could pump out so many Star Wars shows that niche shows like that could be viable. That would be pretty awesome. I haven't had any issues with YouTube's uploading system. This is, I think, true. The bigger you get on YouTube, the more bandwidth they dedicate to uploading your videos. When I upload a video on this channel, the main Eckhart's Ladder channel, 10 seconds, it's done. And then it's the processing that used to be really slow, but that's done in like 30 seconds at most. Even though I upload shorter videos to my clips channel and my hockey channel especially, the processing there can take a lot longer. So that's my theory. I also make sure you check your codecs and stuff. Because like when I used to just, especially if you're using Premiere, I'm just going to open it up real quick. I used to export in the default one. It's like, what is the codec? But you just make sure or I would just match the source rate of whatever I was editing, which was usually like movies and stuff. Make sure you're exporting in H.264, because that's the one that plays the nicest with everyone. What's the chance Lizzo comes in and saves the day? I was meant to say this during the podcast. What if like you know how they always do like the pre-roll stuff before the episode starts? What if they did that and it always tells you what's going to happen? Like you're like, okay, Gideon's going to be in this episode because he was in the pre-roll. What if the only thing in the pre-roll for next episode is just fucking Lizzo and Jack Black? What if one of the rescued Mandos is a real loyalist, thus having a connection to Boba, bringing him to the fight against Moff Gideon? That's getting into some pretty deep Mando lore for an average show, I think. What's the name of your hockey channel? It's called ECK, E-C-K. The recap, yeah, because I know if we see Boba Fett in the recap, he's gonna be there. Where's Sloane? I'm guessing she was just busy, like just legitimately just busy. Okay. Sorry, I was just sending a message to Charlie because I was supposed to be starting another stream. Man's got a good taste in hobbies. I enjoy hockey. I'm probably the worst hockey player in the whole city. We're watching you stream, and that's a flat out lie. I told Charlie I'm getting like super chats and stuff, and I want to keep talking. He said that's a lie. It's not a lie at all. Charlie, do something else. Don't watch me. That makes me feel weird. Which movie do you think will come first? I have no clue. Probably the Mando one. How are you gonna say that's a lie? But I'm gonna end it in a second. Yeah, the Dark Troopers definitely look a lot like what are they called? They're even called DT security droids, I believe. Favorite non-Star Wars show? I watched the first season of Succession. That was really good. I'm not caught up on it though. I mean, everyone spoiled what happened, so. All right, guys, we're going to end it in a couple minutes here. I didn't get to see John Wick 4. I saw Mario. And I saw this really shitty movie called Mummies. Because I've got kids. But let's see. I might actually be able to... 1 second, guys. I can't do it after it starts. I don't think. There's like a... YouTube has like a feature now where you can like... I forget what it's called on Twitch. Oh, raiding. They've got like a quasi-raid feature, but it's just awful. It's like so bad. Because like I can't... I've got to set it up before the stream starts, which makes no sense. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I'll have to set that up later. With the Imperial shown in the Shadow Council besides Pelion and Hux, we don't know. Those are the only two names. They're just called Imperial Warlords in the thing. All right, guys. Thank you everyone for the donations. I really appreciate it. We had a really great stream tonight. We are going to attempt to do another watch party come Wednesday morning, 4 p.m. my time, 3 p.m. Eastern. If you guys could go ahead and drop a like on the stream, it'd be really appreciated. We've got 438 of us watching and only 352 likes. Let's get those numbers up. Get to 400 before the stream ends. And yeah, thanks for all the donations. I think I got all of them. Yeah. With that, good day, everybody. Where was the actual show? I can't show the show during it. You guys got to watch along. It's called a watch along or a watch party, not a get copyright takedown from YouTube party. That's something different. All right, goodbye, everybody. Deploy the likes. Are we blind?